Hey guys, Josh here, and I recently played the demo for Moonlight Peaks, which lets you decorate your farm for 7 nights. And in this video, I'll be showing you what I managed to build in this limited time, in hopes that it can give you some inspiration. And I'll also be sharing with you 7 tips that I learned along the way, so 1 tip for each night. If you want to play the demo, it is available right now on Steam and for a limited time. There's no release date for the full game yet, but it should be releasing for both Steam and Nintendo Switch. So when the demo starts, you first have to choose between 2 styles, a gothic paradise or a cheerful wonderland, and this will determine the appearance of your character as well as the furniture that's in your house. So it's really just a matter of personal preference. You can see here how each of them looks. In my playthrough of the demo, I picked the gothic paradise, but in the full game, you will get to create your own character and everything from scratch. So let's get to work, and on the first night, I decided to dedicate my time to just clearing as much of my plot as possible. And that is my first tip, as not only will you be needing lots of wood, stone and iron for crafting, but if you don't remove all of these resources, they will get in your way while you're trying to decorate. Even grass has to be cut before placing down furniture or paths, so I would recommend removing as much as you can, at least in the areas you know that you will be decorating, as realistically most people probably won't be able to decorate the whole farm. Also, one detail to keep in mind is that you cannot plant new trees in the demo, but you can move them, so you might want to make sure you keep at least a few trees if you're thinking of using them to decorate. Also, nights are 13 minutes long, but there's no consequence for passing out in this demo, so make the most of your time and feel free to work until 6 AM without having to worry. I did not manage to clear everything I wanted during the first night, but I did most of it, and that made the following nights a lot easier. On the second night, my focus was on putting down some paths that would connect my house to the entrance of the farm. Placing paths divides the farm in smaller areas, and for me, in any game, that always facilitates the process of visualizing what I want to do with my layout. I decided roughly where I wanted the chicken coop to be in the bottom right, as well as my garden in the top left beside my house, and I started tilling the soil. I also made a furnace and started transforming my iron ore into bars. What I did not know is that the next day I would be receiving a free furnace in the mail, and also some of the furniture like the fairy lights actually require the ores and not the bars, and iron is limited as it doesn't spawn back in the demo, so I would recommend keeping some ores if you're considering making fairy lights. Overall, the second night was not the most productive. I spent a lot of time just thinking and walking around, but at least I had figured out where I wanted most things to be. On the third night, I worked on the garden, planted some seeds that I had in my inventory. I spent quite some time watering them, both using spells and my watering can, and stay tuned, I will explain why during night number 5. But the watering was a bit of a waste of time that I would avoid if I wanted to start over and optimize my time decorating. I then started placing down some paths between my crops, and at first I wanted to use only wooden paths, but then I found out that dirt paths and sand paths are completely free to craft, so if you don't want to spend too many resources on paths or just want to try different things, these two can be really good options. I also put some hedges around my garden, a few flower beds and a bench, and at the end of the night, I was almost done with the garden. On the fourth night, I decided to make a proper crafting area as I didn't like having everything right in front of my house. Next to my garden, I put my workbench, my furnaces, my cauldron, and my loom there, and then I created some kind of plaza in front of my house with a big tree, then I connected everything with some stone paths. One thing I love in this game is that you can move your mailbox as well as Chester, the shipping bin, so I put the mailbox at the entrance of my farm and Chester in the garden. The thing I learned about day 4, I learned this a bit later, but I should have made more than one loom. A loom allows you to transform fibers into cloth, and quite a few nice pieces of furniture such as rugs, cushions, and tables require quite a bit of cloth, and the loom can only process one item at a time. So if I had known earlier, I would have made at least 2, maybe even 3 looms, and I would have kept making cloths as much as possible. Overall though, night 4 was pretty productive and my farm was starting to look a bit more put together. On the 5th night, I went back to my garden, and as I was telling you earlier, I realized that watering my crops was completely useless, So I used my Maturiato spell, which I believe unlocked on day 4, and this makes the crops grow instantly, so I just made everything grow and sold them right away. I sold everything for about 1,000 coins, and the demo lets you buy furniture and seeds from Yabis the Magic Toad, so that money was quite useful. In the full game, there will be a proper mana system, so you won't be able to cast as many spells, and I'm guessing that specific spell will probably unlock quite later. But as the demo is not balanced like that yet, you can take advantage of this and not spend time watering your crops every day. Just make them grow instantly and get money to make your decorating easier. For the rest of the night, I decided to start working on the top right area of my farm, and I wanted to build some sort of terrace that would serve as a party area. I placed a few fairy lights. I wanted to make more, but as I said, I ran out of iron ores because I made too many bars. Then I decorated the area with some tables, sofas, and flowers before passing out at 6. On the 6th night, I was feeling like I was nowhere near I wanted to be with my farm, but I had just received all the money from the crops I sold the day before, so I bought a bunch of furniture that would help me decorate faster, as well as seeds to put back in my garden for aesthetic purposes. I also realized a bit late that I could press pause to obviously pause the game, giving me some time to think about stuff, all while still being able to see my farm. So often when I decorate in a game, I just stand there and think, and that makes me lose so much time, but time is really precious in this short demo. So if you also just tend to stop a lot to think and try to visualize your farm, don't forget that you can use the pause button. These little pauses allowed me to figure out that I should place some flower beds in my garden, so I did that. Then I went back to working on my party area. I got this beautiful mixed flower bed from Yabis. I also placed a few more chairs and tables, and I was satisfied with that area for now, so I decided to try to build one last thing before the end of the week. So I took another little pause and chose to make an outdoor library. I crafted a few bookcases and I also wanted to make a bunch of cushions and rugs, but that's when I ran out of cloth because I only had one loom, so I decided to make another loom. I managed to place down the flooring for my library and then I passed out. On the 7th and last night, it was time to scramble, trying to finish everything that I started. Before leaving my house, I had one big realization. I don't know why I didn't think about that earlier, but I could just take the furniture that was in my house, like my rugs, my jack-o'-lantern, and my bookcase, and use them to decorate outside. So that's my last tip. If you don't care too much about the interior, just take that furniture outside. I also received a ton of items in the mail on that last day, so that was extremely helpful. I put the rugs from my house in my party area. I also added a few other details, then I tried my best to make the library very quickly. It honestly didn't end up looking like what I envisioned, but I did what I could, and then I put some paths under my chicken coop and connected it to the library just to say I did something with the chicken coop. I emptied my inventory, tried to place anything that I had left, and for some reason, I decided to put sand under the well in my garden. Since I had not put sand anywhere else on my farm, I just wanted to try it, but I don't think it looks good. And I should have put stone instead, or maybe use some of that time to make my crops grow so they look better in the end. But at that point, the night was almost over, and I just did one last little tour of my farm. Once the clock hit 6 a.m., that was it for the demo. I got a screenshot of my farm. I think it's not too bad, but if I had known everything I know now, I could probably have done better. So I hope these little tips I gave you were helpful. Let me know if you've played or if you're planning to play the demo for Moonlight Peaks. What are your thoughts on this game so far? Also, feel free to join my Discord with the link in the description if you want to share your pictures of your farm, all of your screenshots. And I'm very excited to see all of them. I'm also very excited to play more of that game. But that's going to be it for now. Leave a like and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next video.